Please sit down. I feel the need to be mobile today. I think it's something in the town that's catching. We've had an Old Testament warning, Old Testament reading that is a warning that our God's eyes are indeed on us, and he does indeed take note of what takes place, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. We've had a New Testament reading that blesses and encourages and inspires, and we've had a gospel reading, which I'll come back to in a moment, because it's one of those curious ones. We are beginning a triptych, a trinity of Sundays, which I think are all tied together this week, next week, and the week after. They may just be tied together because it is my luxury to be able to preach on all 3 Sundays, but also I find that all 3 weeks are tied, embraced, united by harvest. This week, next week, which is our Harvest Sunday and is also St. Michael and All Angels, and the following week, which is Dedication Sunday and the occasion of our Harvest Evensong and Meal. All 3 somehow wrapped together in harvest, which is not a bad place to be, because harvest brings all sorts of goodies. Today's reading, then. Well, yes, I have to point out it's one of my least favourite in the entirety of the Gospels. Next week, I really rather like. The week after that is delightful. This week, not so much. It's one of those where we seem to be falling through an increasingly complex and cryptic financial conundrum until just at the point where we are about to hit warp speed and lose all sense of reason, finally we catch and cling to that last line. And in my head, thinking back to scaffolding hanging here, I've caught that very last bar and am swinging underneath it, having heard the words, "You cannot serve God and wealth." Finally, we have something which we recognize, which is simple enough to cling to, even if we're not entirely sure what we're going to do with it now that we've grasped it. Now, not many of us here do indeed make our living off the land. Not many of those who are cycling through what's now threatened to be thunderstorms probably will be racing home, quite literally, at the end to get there in time for milking, nor will, as they struggle up the hills, they be wondering what price their lamb will get at market when that season comes. But we do all provide for one another. We do all produce and grow something and things. We do it simply in conversation with one another. We do it in planning events together, be it as family or as friends or as church or community or in our business dealings. We do it in creating and defending and sometimes repairing friendships. We are receiving from and giving to one another. We are creating, feeding, tending a harvest. So, why? Imagine for a moment, you're neither cyclist nor you, but you are an actor. What is your motivation for this role? Genuinely, what is your motivation? Why do you do what you do? Why do you behave as you behave? Why do you encourage or love or bless or chastise or belittle, be courageous or fearful or hopeful or afraid? Why do you do what you do in the way you choose to do it? Do we do it to impress others? Do we do it to gain in some way? to gain a little prestige? Do we do it to bolster our fragile or maybe our ferocious ego? Might not any of those be a mistake? Because we know that all empires and rulers and kings and influencers fall eventually. At which point might we not find we'd backed the wrong horse or the wrong bike? I couldn't resist that one. I think this gospel reading is all about being encouraged. Take courage. Take courage to live now that beauty, that life that is deep and longing and desiring in your hearts, that has been there since the moment you began to be. It's that spinning energy that inspires and fires you and is desperate to break out in the whole expression of life, which is far bigger than our mortal body can contain. Take courage to live that life for which you long and which you desire. That passion. Be passionate in cycling, in singing. Be passionate in speaking to others and providing them with cups of coffee. Be passionate in designing banners that hang outside churches to bid people welcome. Do everything because of the one thing. The truth that is found between you and God. Just the two of you. Standing face to face. Him, her, God, bidding you to look them in the eye. Because there you see the love that makes you not only stand up straight, but swell with a life and an energy that is gifted to you. Have that courage to be faithful to that truth. Because self-evidently, that is going to be the easiest way to live our life, because it is wholeheartedly who we are. And think of the rewards that it brings. Because what do we value more than those occasions where we meet someone who is simply free? They may not have 2 pennies to rub together in the world, and yet when we are with them and when we leave them, we feel like we've gained a wealth of riches because of the honesty with which they have simply gifted themselves to us and to whoever else they meet. A genuine, unique, open gift. Of course, this doesn't take away the problems of life. Of course, it doesn't make all the path of life easy, straightforward, and known. But it makes it true. And it makes it clear. Uncluttered by invisible pretenses. And what a harvest it brings. A freedom, a breath, a warmth. It's like a little resurrection. We're all invited to live. Christ welcomes the world. We're all invited to live. That's what I get from one of my least favourite readings. To be continued. Amen.